Hello, my name is Shirley Goodsell. Welcome to my studio. Van Gogh once said, "I dream and then I paint." Well, hopefully I'm hoping to do the same thing. I paint what I dream. You're very welcome to come into my studio, and I hope it's an inspiration for all of you who enjoy painting. Now we're in the studio, I can show you some of the paintings that I'm doing, which is part of an exhibition that I'm having in Studio 11. If I show you the sketchbook, you can see how I actually put a composition together with figures from a very, very old, very uninteresting black and white photograph. So you've really got to do a lot of preparation, and you can see that there. And you've got to think about the colours, because there's no help in the image, as you can see. And also, if you look at this picture, which actually you might know Alec Gill, who is well known for his trawler stories and The Fisherman of Hessel Road. This is where he was born, and I said I'd give him, do him a painting of where he was born. And this is the actual picture. And again, as you can see, there's no help on the actual black and white picture. I've got to really build up the colours as I see them, and then have a very nice painting at the end of it, which he's going to have, and you see all the lighting there. Behind me there is a painting of Holy Trinity, and this is about 1900, and my uncle Jack used to shoe horses around here, and quite likely some of these people would have horses that had been shoed by him. And my great granddad was a market gardener in Swine, just outside Hull. And he used to have a horse that when he kind of, at the end of the day, brought his produce into Hull, into the market, quite likely he might have been one of these people, he actually let the horse take him back to Swine, because he usually used to drink his profit away in the local, I think it was the Bonnie Boat pub. So there's lots of family history attached to these paintings from my mother's side. Here, this one is Whitefordgate. And Whitefordgate is somewhere that as a child I can remember dragging a shopping bag behind my mother and grandmother as they window shopped down here. And I can remember that just over there you can see the cream telephone boxes, and you used to get lots of teenagers all hanging around for the local gossip. And just behind there they used to have boats in Prince's Dock, and they used to come up, the front of the boat used to come over the pavement, and you used to have corn spilling out on the pavement, and you used to be treading through this as you came into Whitefordgate. And it's just been pedestrianised, this image, so the people are going up and down, sorting out what they want, big groups of people just enjoying themselves on a Saturday afternoon, which is what we did. This gives you an idea of the exhibition, because it's my family's journey through Old Town. And looking at these people here, these are the people that I can remember. If I show you here, this is my Uncle Jack. He was the blacksmith. He was the last blacksmith in Hull, in the Old Town. And he was also a cartwright. He used to make the wheels for the wagons. This is my grandma, who was Jack's sister, and Rebecca. And these are actually on this photograph here. Uncle Jack used to take cups of tea around to the people in the alleyways and also the shambles. And his mother, who's down here, my great grandma Eliza, she used to make it for 20p a cup, and it was sweetened tea that Uncle Jack used to take around as a kid. This is my great granddad James Reynolds, who she married. And he was a mariner and a very handsome chap, even though I say it myself. And he actually was a mariner who sailed around Cape Horn. This is what I drew in the back room when my Uncle Jack and Auntie Grace lived in Mytongate. And at that point, my Auntie Grace, she'd lost an eye. And as you can see in that, she was a pretty old lady, but she was still very, very strong in spirit. And she had a cart business, a hand cart business, and she used to actually rent them out to all the people delivering fruit, produce from Fruit Street and so on. And she used to have a room on the top of the business in I think it was 26 Fish Street. So as you can see here, there's quite a lot of family history, and these are all people who lived and breathed and actually spent their lives in this close community in the old town. And that's why my paintings are so personal, because I want people to remember what it was like, and also just the rich tapestry of life that was there before it all changes to City of Culture, which is what's going to be happening next year. So this is my way of celebrating the old town, and through workshops, which is oil painting and lino printing, there's going to be other people taking journeys like I've done and discovering for themselves their own family histories in paint and also in lino cutting. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody when that happens in Studio 11. I started when I was about 7, and I used to love looking at art books, particularly Egyptian murals. And I used to enjoy the history of Egypt, and also just painting, just ordinary watercolour work. And then from there I went through to, when I was about 16, I started taking an interest in pen ink work. And I did a lot of pen and ink work that people used to buy as prints of the Horse Wash, Corporation Pier, Holy Trinity and so on. As I was growing up, I was absolutely besotted with Old Town, and my family came from the Old Town in Dagger Lane, and all the time I was growing up, like Saturday shopping and so on, used to be always in the open market, going through to Myton Gate, where my Uncle Jack, who was the last blacksmith in Old Town, actually lived. In fact, he had a blacksmith, a smithy in 17 Sewer Lane. So I've always been absolutely full, really enthusiastic about the Old Town, because it was just so lively and such a thriving place at one time. But obviously as I got older and moved away from the area, which I did to become a teacher, everything that I knew about the Old Town had gone when I came back. So that kind of sparked off further interest in the Old Town. But as I was growing up, the stages of my own kind of development, if you like, as an artist were slow, because I was teaching at the same time. So if you're teaching, you can't really reach the stage where you know you're good enough to be able to do decent pieces of work for exhibitions. So really it's only now that with the fact that it's changing its character and becoming something completely different, like a chameleon, it's changing its colours. I wanted to do work which actually portrays the ordinary people and life as I knew it as a child, and my family are the thread, if you like, going through these paintings. One of the places that I get my information from is the Hull History Centre, especially when it comes to drawing the handcarts, and that was necessary with the hustle and bustle painting, which is a very thriving image of life in the open market at Nogate in the 1900s. And one of my relatives were called palings, and they used to hire handcarts out. So the people who were bringing in vegetables and fruit and everything from outside of Hull would be using the handcarts, and possibly even ferrying them down to Humber Street, where they originally, I presume, they would be then sold. But this is all about early 19th century, so, you know, we found out a bit about that. So there's a lot, you know, quite a few of the paintings have got my family kind of in the paintings, which make it more interesting than just, you know, like a documentary, if you like, of just buildings. But the paintings themselves, they're not complicated, they're accessible, unlike a lot that are too profound to understand. My paintings are for ordinary people to actually feel an emotion for and to actually interrelate with. I can see the colours of my childhood, the warmth of the brick, and all this is actually in the paintings, because all I've had to use have been black and white photographs. So it's actually trying to relive everything that I remember as I've actually grown up there. And just even the smell of water, and even down to oil peel, orange peelings in fruit market. I mean, I was a shorthand typist in the fruit market at Dan Wheels, and so one of the paintings is this view of the fruit market. And I can remember at 11 o'clock the bell used to always go, where the buyers would be coming in. So there's this fantastic activity around there that I can remember, and he turned a corner into fruit market and immediately had all these exotic smells coming. So all these are on the paintings, you know, especially the one of the fruit market. People here, these are all kind of studies of people who are in the paintings, and really basically the paintings are compositions. They're not photographs, they're compositions that I've actually made up in order to get the human stories into the pictures. So I mean, there's not many kind of people about, but there is here, where you look at that one where you've got the two workers having a chat on the barge and all the activity happening with the sacks and so on. I mean, I can remember these warehouses. I think they were well, it was just before North Bridge, and they backed onto High Street, so it's before William Wilberforce's house. But these people are what I want in the paintings I've got, and there's a lot of people with their own lives, and you wonder, you know, like in these strips, you're just wondering where they're going, where they're walking to, what kind of connections have they got with each other. And these are actually part and parcel of the paintings that are not here, but are going to be in the exhibition. So there's a terrific amount of research involved. You know. So the top end are people, I think it was about the 50s, 60s. And then the top right hand side is when my family had hand carts in the open market in Holy Trinity. And then the one on the left hand side is one to do with bargains and getting bargains. That's that one just there, over there. The woman there, the one with the camel coat with the blue bag, it's the kind of it's the second group of figures from the left, and the chap's holding his bargain. That used to be quite a regular sight, and the way she's standing and the way she's kind of strutting was just so typical with the high heels, or you know, semi-heeled or whatever. But people had such kind of enthusiasm and confidence in what they were buying, even though you knew that in some of these stalls it wasn't exactly a bargain, you know, they were really getting something which was a bit shoddy really. But it's just lovely, all these activities and people and where they're going and who they are, and they all make up the fabric of Hull as I've known it, and you know, hopefully, and it'll be going back into a completely different identity with the changes now, but at least it's happening and it's starting to grow again. My great-granddad was a mariner, and he actually he was in the three-masted sailing. I think there must have been clippers, but he did sail around the Cape, and I wonder if there might have been tea clippers. I'm not sure, but he was quite a character, quite a handsome man, and he actually persuaded my Uncle Jack not to go to sea, because the life conditions on board the boat were so bad that he actually got Jack into a blacksmith's apprenticeship, and he became as I said, the blacksmith of the family in Sewer Lane. But James he kind of started off as a mariner, but he ended up as a grocer in Dagger Lane with his wife, who used to be Mrs. Humphreys, who used to sell tuppence, cup of teas for tuppence, and Jack used to run around the alleyways of Old Town. I hope you've enjoyed being around my studio. I've loved showing you how I actually paint and what I do, and showing my family's history. I hope to see you at the preview, which will be next week. Alan Johnson's opening it. It's open to the public October the 1st through to November the 12th, and then it goes on to Hassad. Hopefully I will see you there. It's been very nice meeting you, and thank you for coming.